Right, hello everybody. Now, let's hope our microphones are working. Apparently they weren't. We're underway then for qualifying here for Group A. Everything's been going nuts with us trying to get 13 different series streamed in one day. I'm Joshua Birch, alongside me is Wes Mainsbridge. Wes, welcome to you. Are you doing okay? And we're into the Group A stages now for qualifying, finally.
Yes, finally. We've got Roland, Dennis, Maloney, Evans, as well as Muller, who's got his car fixed after going into a concrete wall at the chicane earlier, as well as Van Dorn, Beckman, and Hughes.
So never good to go into a full-on barrier in practice. That was earlier on. Jess took you through that along with Side the World feed as well, as our qualifying situation is up and running. Thank you to everybody who said, by the way, that our audio was faulty. We appreciate you in the comments section as well. So, Roland, Dennis, Maloney, Evans currently through with their original lap time so far. Let's see how far along that will go. And where's, as we hear from Roland?
Who's that in front? How many cars is there?
Oh, in front is quite far, is Boemi. So now 8, single push, only one car.
Amy says hi, Wes. But yeah, who are you looking forward to this weekend, Wes, to sort of have this sort of battle between everybody? Who are you going to be looking forward to keep an eye on?
Well, from what I've seen in the practice sessions, I quite like the look of Taylor Barnard. He's been fast. He's been consistent in his laps. He's not made any mistakes that I've seen. So I think he could be one to watch out for.
Got Maloney on a lap time in 4th place so far, as we ride with Ollie Rowland over the hill. This is an infield section here at the Miami Speedway. It is a proper racing circuit. Let's not forget, this infield section is akin to most you see in American racing. In fact, it's even on the original R-Factor game if you want to go and race it. But it is superb in terms of how Formula E have modified it. I wish they'd let us go full speed properly at this place, because it is absolutely awesome. As
It would be something to see, wouldn't it?
Put us on an oval.
I was just going to say, there's so few circuits on the calendar where we would get to see a Formula E car, pushed as far as it can technically go. This might be it, really, with the course, a lot of it being a banked oval.
Confuses me that we have, it did in Puebla, but we've got a starting grid on an oval, and where the flag stand is, we've got the 5 red lights, and it confuses me every single time I see it coming in so far. As we now look at Jake Dennis cruising on a lap time. They're not really that slow here at Miami. There's just a nice lift-off cool lap after he's fastest, a 1:24.901. Beckman second, Roland third, Evans fourth, Muller, Maloney, DaCosta, Mortar, and now Van Dorn's got up into 6th place as well, actually, to change that through. And this is Roland down the backstretch. This is the chicane, and just a little bit of oversteer, but they've sort of done that so we can get easier down to the infield section, because they didn't want the cars on the bankings rolling down into the infield section, because they thought that it would cause a big accident, which, fair's fair, it might do, but I don't know, it seems a bit risky to let them go at all, really. Oh, hello.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely would have liked to have seen it. I don't know if they did any testing, or if they were just being overly cautious, but it is a bit of a shame we don't get to see them more on the oval.
Maybe next year when we come here they'll do something to change it up as well. So turn 1, a very sharp, tight left, then a little bit of a straight 4, a kink at 2, 3 and 4 sort of loop back in together, straight down towards turn 6, tap modes at the exit of turn 4 actually, to come into it. But it's a technical circuit, the infield that they use here. They've added the chicane in where the back half of the track is. That's technically down at turn 10 and 11. It used to be a long straight on the back stretch on the opposite side of the oval. But yeah, it's weird. We were only here a few weeks ago for NASCAR, and now we're here running it in. It seems weird. It looks completely different as well. I can't understand. It looks 100% different.
It's incredible what they can do, isn't it? I mean, it's slightly that we used to see a lot in Formula One, and I suppose still do see in IndyCar. That's coming up, I think, here soon. But they've done a really good job with it.
Yeah, IndyCar will be racing here at Miami in the coming years, and months even, as they come into it. This is going to be a bit of a back angle of the camera. I'm surprised that Dario Franchitti isn't in the commentary box this weekend as the only one. I think he's fully now left the broadcast team. Let's hear from Dennis.
Yeah. Track ahead of you is looking good. Make sure we ignite the tyres before we push next lap.
Go on, Wes.
Again, I was just going to say Dario Franchitti is racing in Goodwood this weekend.
Dennis's radio's back open.
Bit of a false promise of radio here.
Mortara behind pushing. Mortara closing in on you. He's on the approach to T8 now. Mortara pushing. He's the only car pushing.
Copy. 3.5 potato.
Copy. Spot on. Mortara P8 now. Reminder: no more gapping after 13. No more gapping.
And
Okay,
that's the
everyone
point.
behind you in the same sequence. 70 seconds to check it.
And that's with 1 minute
is
to
good.
go. Okay.
I'll
Just trying
change
to
that.
get caught up in the games with Roland and Beckman ahead. No more gapping after T13. 60 seconds remaining.
Nice and slow technical to see Mortar jump onto the oval there. That was nice to hear from Dennis in the background. I think that we're going to hear it again, apparently.
So we're going to keep going.
I'm going to continue
Anyway, just
talking
under-
until they hear it. There must be a fault. But yeah, it's really interesting as the flag's getting ready to go out. How much the drivers saying this is going to be like a slow race. They're not going to be as full throttle throughout it because it's such a long circuit. But qualifying, they were expecting bonanza times, and we're not seeing it. Everyone hasn't improved since the first one earlier on in the session.
I know, it's very strange, isn't it? I don't know if it's quite hot here this weekend, so they may have got the best out of the tyres relatively early in the session. Yeah, it's very difficult to say. There's no improvement so far, though.
Track temperature is at 32 degrees, air temperature at 22, so that's Celsius, of course. It is very, very warm indeed. As we look into the garages and not at the track where the checkered flag is out. Yes, that is Sung Kang, the actor. Very nice to see him, it is too. Can we please get back to the cars, as going straight on is Ollie Rowland, missing the braking zone down at turn 10 and 11. And that's going to cost him a group stage. So that is Rowland out of the groups. Damn.
Oh no, that's the championship leader out already.
So I believe that's going to confirm the top four even without needing to do a session of a lap time. That is bizarre as they come through. Van Dorn's on a better lap time, so is Hughes.
That is very, very odd. A drama already here in Miami.
Across the line, and it's only Van Dorn that could improve. Evans goes 8th, Roland boxes after that lap time flag falling with the official FIA flag that's been mandated by a certain president, and there goes Van Dorn up into P2. So he has disrupted that, kicks out Mortara from the Jules. Buemi's out too. Evans, Roland, Muller, Maloney and Hughes then from the first session. Well, that was a bit bizarre. And an anticlimactic Group A. I hope the Jules are better than this. My God, that was boring almost. What's going on with Formula E?
It was just a bit of a procession, if you can have such a thing in qualifying. But yeah, and the gaps kind of weren't even really that close, to be honest. There was a tenth of a second here and there, but yeah, we're much not what we're used to really in Formula E, unfortunately.
Well, in terms of grip, any improvement in grip? Anything you can... Copy.
Okay, so let's head down then to the world feed as we are waiting for the qualifying session to resume, and we will be underway here shortly. Let's head down to the world feed.
See here, replay of Oliver Rowland. He just started to lock the rears at that really difficult chicane there. As you can see from his steering wheel, he's locking up the rears and he just can't get the car into the corner. He said he's been struggling with the brakes all weekend since whatever the software they've changed from the brake over the last 8 weeks, it's just not working for him. He can't get the feeling for it and he can't carry the speed that he was carrying earlier on this season into the corners.
Yeah, huge shame there for Oliver Rowland. He'll be bitterly disappointed with that, and it does give him quite a hard task going into the E-Prix this afternoon, Billy.
Yeah, definitely gives him a lot of work to do, a lot of positions to make up. Obviously, we are expecting pack racing, so there will be some opportunities for
I've
him.
no idea, mate. I was not a bad lap. I just don't have any confidence after yesterday.
That's critical confidence for a racing driver. A happy racing driver is a fast racing driver, so the old adage goes. Unfortunately, Oliver Rowland not very happy with that one at all. Let's get confirmation then, shall we, of the results from Group A qualifying here in Miami. So Antonio Felix da Costa for Tackway Porsche, Stoffel Van Dorn for Maserati MSG, Jake Dennis for Andretti, and David Beckman into the duels for the first time for Cooper Kiro this season. Mortara, Buemi, Evans, Rowland, Muller, Maloney, and also Jake Hughes in this house. Well, David Beckman will be absolutely delighted with that one. A lot of pressure on his shoulders coming into this weekend, actually, considering he's not had a particularly brilliant start to the season, if I may be so bold to say so. He needed a strong result, and that's a great way to start his campaign.
Great start to the qualifying. Let's see what he can do in the duels. I feel like he took a big step forwards, certainly this weekend, from what we've seen from him in the first few races, or first 4 races. And he's really struggled to match Dan Tickton. Now, the interesting thing is, how fast is Dan going to be in this next session?
Yeah, that's a crucial question there for him. Well, Maserati MSG, Jake Hughes not making it through. Very disappointing for him. Stranger things have happened there for Jake Hughes, though. He'll be looking forward to a bit of redemption later on. We now wait for Group B to be coming out on track very shortly here. So over to Group B qualifying for round 5 here in Miami. Taylor Barnard, the man of the moment, fastest in practice this morning. He's out also with Jeddah race winner Max Günther, his teammate John Eric Byrne also in it, reigning world champion Pascal Wehrlein, De Vries, Bird, Cassidy, Tickton, Bright, Nato and Lucas de Grassi are the 11 drivers who will go out in this session. Now, what we saw in Group A was lap times being set sort of about halfway through, really. That's when we saw the flyers coming through. Billy, do we reckon we're going to see much more of the same in Group A?
I think the team might have done some learning, because normally we expect track evolution, the last few minutes of the session, to be where the track's at its best, but maybe with those rising temperatures as the day warms up, maybe that is going to be the case, that they have to readjust their run plans and decide to get a banker in earlier on in the session, then give the tyres a chance to really cool down before setting a lap towards the end as well.
What about Nick Cassidy? 10 or 2 halves for his weekend so far, James. Fastest in free practice 1. This morning, not quite so good for him. He was outside of the top 10.
Yeah, but this morning, I start to question now if he only did 300 kilowatt laps this morning, because yesterday he was so fast in the 350. And in this, this morning session, I think he just put together a 300 kilowatt lap. I'm not sure he put together a proper lap in his 350 kilowatt. But he's been looking strong this weekend, and I think also his race pace looks quite good. So it's going to be an interesting one to see if he can get this together in this session.
Well, we know the Jaguars are pretty good at cycling through the field. If you look back to Sao Paulo, lost the first challenge in real life they're done for Mitch Evans. On board we are then with Taylor Barnard, youngest ever pole sitter in Formula E, took the accolade at Jeddah back in February. He still has the opportunity to become the youngest ever race winner in Formula E this season as well.
He could very much do that today. I mean, we've seen some stunning performances from him in the practice session. This morning he was on incredible form. The onboard lap that we watched, Billy, was just very special.
Yeah, it was indeed. He's definitely a driver high on confidence. Interestingly, though, speaking to Ian James, the team principal over at Neon McLaren, he seemed to think that in 300 kilowatts, in that sort of form, it's going to tighten the field up. We saw how tight the margins were in Group A there, so I think that almost the hardest thing for Taylor is going to be to get through this stage of qualifying. I think in 350 kilowatt power, I think he's actually probably got more confidence in the car, and we'll see the best of him there.
We can really see how tyre temperature is critical just by how slow the outlaps are for these drivers here. They are hanging around and taking their sweet time.
Well, the interesting thing is you want to build the temperature in the core of the tyre, not just on the surface. If you drive too fast, you heat up the surface of the tyre and the blocks that move around. You want to get that temperature so all the way through the tyre, so the whole tyre is working as one. And that's why we're seeing these slow build-up laps.
Yeah, this slow, super slow build-ups are just not helping anybody at all, Wes. It's not killing the atmosphere, but it's certainly bringing the party mood down a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is. It's intrusive. small amount of time we get in these group stages, it also doesn't bode well for the duels either, because of course they won't have this build-up time for that. So yeah, we could be seeing some mistakes made later on, especially with that.
Championship leader not through to the duels. He's walking back in to the paddock area as well. So Cassidy, Barnard, Gunther, Verne, Verline, De Vries, Bird, Tictum, Frines, Nato, Degrassi. That is your running order for this session as they come out of the backstretch over the line. And this is just still build-up times. Cassidy, 1:38 lap time. This is shocking. Yeah, now I think he's going to push.
No, Cassidy gets a bit squirrely on the exit of 1 there. They were going over that outside section a lot in FP2, and it's really kicked up a lot of dirt, and it makes it so much worse for the cars behind.
Really are finally kicking into gear, which is what they've needed to do for a time. Cassidy's first sector is a 28.725 as well, sliding the rear. Doesn't look that fast. Maybe we should stop coming to these type of even before. Didn't work it proper that well. What did we think it was going to work well here as well? Still, we'll hold it through the inside.
In fairness, I do think it will make the race quite spicy, and especially with the width of this track as well. We could see like 3, 4, possibly even 5 wide cars in some places.
The lap's gone for Cassidy, unfortunately. He's made a mistake coming out of just before turn 12, so that's going to be him done for a while, at least. 7 minutes to go in Group B. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the duels are going to be fun, otherwise we're going to be in for a very boring hour here in Mexico. Here, I said Mexico, I was thinking Puebla. Here in Miami. This is Cassidy's mistake there, down to 10, 11 chicane. Too much speed and entry, and yeah, he knew it was gone immediately because of the way he turned into.
He did. He was lucky to not repeat what Nico Muller did earlier today and crash into the side of that. And that is a concrete wall, by the way. There is absolutely no give in it whatsoever. It'll just destroy the front wing and the suspension.
Local rebuild, in fact, for Muller to even get out there. As we heard Tom say, he hadn't even done a lap at full power yet as they continue on. Here is Da Costa. Just talking back from what happened in his session. Here's a man who's second in the World Championship, Taylor Barnard, and very much could become a winner here this weekend in Miami. What do you make of the young 18, now 19-year-old? He's a fantastic driver, isn't he?
Oh, he really is. I've been a fan of him since his F4 days, and he's really matured well. I believe he skipped F3 on his way up the ladder, went straight into F2. Yeah. Sadly didn't even do a full season of that because of sponsorship issues. But he's really come into his own now in Formula E. McLaren, I think, were definitely right to give him the opportunity, and he's paying them back in kind now.
Winner in F2 Monaco after having experience on the street circuit, and someone's kicked up an awful lot of dust here. He's coming through now as we're riding. That is Barnard, and we're on board with Gunther, I want to say now, on his lap time. So Barnard's just a bit behind. Degrassi's gone top with Lola. Yamaha apt, so 1:33.917. Verline, Gunther and Verne are under investigation for a Parc Fermé infringement. Now, that could be them kicked out of the session altogether. We'll keep an eye on how that is as we go. NATO in there too. 124. Yeah, it's a long build-up for qualifying here for Formula E. We forget often sometimes how much of build-up and prep lap they actually have to do.
Yeah, it's what is it? It's the Degrassi top currently. No, Dan Tictum's just gone to the top now. 129 dead.
So we're going to get these times faster and faster and faster, which is about time as they will close in once more. NATO now takes it to 124.808. And here's Barnard. It's that violent bump before going onto the oval section here from that last corner, because it's not meant to be taken from the bottom to the top. They've tried to smooth it out as much as they can, but the bump's still there. Barnard into P2. Verline goes second now as well as the times continue to tick down. 4 minutes to go. Oh, fingers crossed.
4 minutes. They're gradually, there's confirmation on screen now of that Parc Ferme infringement for those 3 drivers. It would be a shame if they were all to get DQ'd from this session.
I hope it's something simple that's causing that problem. What a Degrassi, 1:24.799. Degrassi's now gone top overall, so he's taken the fastest time overall. 9,000.
Yeah, just not 9 thousandths of a second faster than Nato.
Now they know what it's like. That's the pace that Lola have had.
Ooh. Getting all out of shape on the exit of that corner there. Nick Cassidy. He's such an aggressive driver, Nick Cassidy. I've always loved his style of driving.
He stays 8th at the moment. Still not finding that time. Jaguar having a shocking time of it this season. As I'm hearing a tyre screeching, it's De Vries as he comes across out of the last sector. Pushes down hard into the braking zone for the 10-11 chicane. Through the concrete, back up towards the safety barrier. That's where we've had NASCARs come to rest after accidents. Now we're racing on that part of the circuit. There's the dust coming through at the exit turn 12 into 13. It's causing several issues. De Vries flies through, 15 as well over the line, runs it up high and moves up to 3rd. 33 thousandths off the pace. It's a 1:24.832. Much better that time.
Yeah, great effort there from Nick De Vries. Degrassi Radio.
The car has a lot of, the car is scratching the floor quite a lot.
Oh.
Copy, maybe bring temperature into the front with the pressure. You can change that to push scenario.
Right, so something's scratching the floor as it goes. There's some form of bounce. That needs to be corrected quickly, otherwise the ride height, the floor gets damaged. Goodbye weekend. We can't legitimise the car. I'm impressed.
Yeah, and not what Lola need right now. They've not had the best of luck this season already with reliability issues.
Yeah, brand new coming in. Needs to get better. Needs to get more reliable. But they're inside the top 4 by topping it, and it's close. 1:24.799. It's 9 thousandths to NATO, 33 thousandths to De Vries, 60 thousandths to Verline. Stunning top 4. How close they all are. As we now watch Barnard in the McLaren.
Barnard just a 10th off of getting into the duels. Will he be able to find that 10th, or has he taken the best out of the tyres already? If Group A was anything to go on, then it's not looking good, but let's wait and see.
Let's hear from Cassidy.
Going for the launch out the final corner.
Start of the day I said I was happy, I said don't anything, and we just changed everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be a $10,000 fine, but yeah, Cassidy's angry that the team have changed things and they've told him not to. And swearing on the radio is a big no-no these days.
It's good, yeah.
This is going to be fun. We'll be in the quarterfinals soon. So who's going to be facing who is the question. Cautious, that's what they need to be here. Just bring that time together and know that the duels are going to be a lot more entertaining. Checkered flag is out. Right, what are we going to have in terms of deltas? Verline's improving, so's Barnard, Bird is. So's Cassidy actually in the middle sector only. Watching him now. Into the braking zone now. Oh, it's flipped. Go on.
Yeah, it's going to be much more exciting than the last one. It's certainly looking that way at the moment anyway.
Braking hard for Cassidy. I don't think he's got the pace still. He's struggling so much, as we see. That's Tickton just jumping over the curbs in the Cooper Kaido. Touching that dust against that final few corners. Right, checkered flags now. Let's see who's going to improve where. Cassidy up to the line. 11th fastest at the moment. Comes across and misses out. He's 6th. Shocker. Barnard will be in the second sector. We join him now. Ticktum stays 7th. So, personal best first sector for Barnard. Second sector's looking okay. Degrassi's improving out there in that middle sector as well. We'll keep an eye on him. Oh, curb cut there as well. Oh, and it snapped. Barnard snapping the rears. Whew. Jumps over. 1, 2, final corner. Now push down the throttle. Up the curb. And what's the time for Taylor Barnard? Does he get through to the Jules? No. Stays 5th. Frines does! Frines kicks out Verline. Envision find a stunning pace. It's a 1:24.756. Wow! Oh, I know, Degrassi and DeFries have stopped to the last corner. But go on, Wes. Wow!
Oh, no, I was going to say, that was an epic time, completely out of nowhere from Robin Frines. All credit to him there. That was very impressive.
So Frines goes through, as well as Degrassi, Nato and DeFries. But neither McLaren go through, neither of the Porsche go through. And, well, this is going to be quite entertaining. Who went through Group 1? I need to check on my list.
That was very disappointing from both McLaren and Porsche, considering their relative pace in practice. I'll be disappointed with that.
It gets worse and worse and worse. Frines, Degrassi, Nato, DeFries, before they go through, out goes Verline alongside Barnard, Cassidy, Ticktum, Vern, Bird and Gunther. Quarterfinals up next. Let's head down to the world feed.
Wouldn't you? Never. No, I would never have picked that four to be at the top of this session. It was a super competitive session from the practices. No, we saw DeVries had some speed, Nato, but...
Very nice. That's P1 in the group.
Yeah, really, really impressive stuff there for Robin Freitz, his race engineer. Just chatting away to him, and yeah, he'll be absolutely delighted with that one, no doubt at all. Let's see what he can do when we go into the dual station qualifying, because of course all changes, we get more power and we get four-wheel drive as well. So Group B concludes with Freitz, Degrassi, Nato and Nick DeFries being the drivers that go forwards. We say goodbye to Verline, Barnard and Cassidy. Ticktum also not making the cut, as well as Bird, and Maximilian Gunther. So no McLarens, no Verline, no Cassidy and no DS Penske's in that session. Big upsets here this morning. Let's see how they're able to turn things around at the E3 this afternoon. Well, there we go, a dramatic end to that session. James, everybody in the paddock was going on about Taylor Barnard, saying, yeah, he's going to be the guy, he's the one who got tipped for pole position, and he doesn't make it out of Group B.
I think we've seen the temperatures have quite a big effect here. It's much warmer than it was in the free practice earlier this morning, and where Taylor absolutely dominated the session. Totally different game when you've got to manage your tyres in this higher temperature, much higher track temperature. Lucas Degrassi, the old master, ex-champion, I mean, what a performance from him. He looked absolutely perfect through the chicane on this lap. He's really nailing everything, and to put that low lap to Yamaha, I mean, it's stunning.
Yeah, it just goes to show the level of experience that Grass has got coming to the fore in situations such as this. Great time also from Robin Freitz in the individual as well. The Dutchman will be delighted with that, no doubt at all. Just 7/100ths of a second separating four drivers at the end of those group stages of qualifying. So incredibly tight margins. And yeah, we'll see what some of the drivers who have got a bit of work to do this afternoon have got to say after that session, including this round here, Pascal Verline. He was close, just 0.03 of a second away from going forwards into the duels, but yeah, that is disappointing there for him in that Tag Heuer Porsche.
Yeah, tough one for him, especially with Antonio topping Group A. I think it's going to hit hard, that one.
No doubt about it. Jake Dennis out of the car there, as you can see. Nice to see Dennis back on a bit of form here this season. Home race for the Andretti team, and we'll see what Dennis is going to be able to deliver in the E3 this afternoon. In terms of the Jules ladder and the drivers that will be going head-to-head against one another, we'll have Dennis versus Van Dorn in the first of the quarterfinals. It'll be Beckman versus Da Costa next up. Then it's Natto versus De Grassi and De Vries versus Robin Fright. Interestingly, no driver's taken pole without being first or second in their qualifying group, so there is a good opportunity for that to change this afternoon. Sorry, this morning rather, I should say.
Is your money on Lucas De Grassi then?
Well, I mean, I'm not a gambling man, James, but if I had a little flutter, I wouldn't mind having a couple of quid on Lucas De Grassi.
I mean, that for me is such a surprise. I mean, all credit to the team. They must have worked incredibly hard on it. New to the championship. Huge challenge, and stepping forwards this weekend, delivering that sort of qualifying performance from Lucas, and with the team also confirming that they're going to be involved in Gen 4 in the future. Very exciting moment for the team.
Yeah, hugely exciting then. So group stage of qualifying come to their conclusion. This man here, Antonio Pires da Costa, will be out on track very, very shortly. Let's see what the Portuguese driver is going to be able to do. The Jules are on their way next here in Miami to see who will be on pole.
Well, that was an interesting qualifying session. It's not over yet, of course. But Till Beckenschleimer, as the owner of Lola, this must be a very nice start to the day. Congratulations. What result, Lucas De Grassi?
Thank you. I was running late for qualifying. It was all very stressful, and yeah, got a good result here. You know, like you said, it's not over yet, but huge result for us just to be into the duels, and big step forward.
And how expected was it for you? Do you feel like you've had performance this weekend and you're aiming for the duels, or has it come as a bit of a surprise?
I don't know, to be honest. I think this is the first weekend where we've come focused on performance as opposed to just reliability and debugging. But as a result, we didn't really know what to expect. So, yeah, positive reaction for sure. Yeah.
I can see Lucas De Grassi over there. He says he might have time very, very quickly. Just a quick word. I know you've jumped out of the car. You've got to rush off. What a great lap.
Yeah, it was a good lap. I think we managed to get the tire in a good window, understand the tire, and we're improving. The team is improving. We put a lot of resources, effort, and it's a new team. So the rate of progress is still very sharp at the moment, and we expect to have more developments to come.
We really enjoyed how you cooled your tyres yesterday by going through the puddles. There are no puddles today, though.
Who was the guy saying I'm old age? Who was? There was somebody saying I was old.
Outrageous. Sack him. But yeah, there's no rain forecast for today, so how are you going to manage those tyres when it's such an abrasive surface?
Now it's not important to cool, but important to keep in the right temperature. So when you're doing many laps, it's important to cool in between. But now, because it's only a single lap, you have to make it in the right temperature without overstressing it. So that's the key thing.
And how tricky is it to get the lap together? It looks really tricky out there for everyone, but you seem to get it right in those stages. But for the duels, is it going to be tougher?
Yeah, I in the first lap, I took like a 1% margin here and there because I knew that lap was the best of the tires. So I could have squeezed 1 or 2 tenths still, but then the chance of doing a mistake increases exponentially. So now in the duels, look, for us the first duel, we're going to push 100% and see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, Lucas De Grassi, congratulations. All the best for the duels. Well, he seems very confident, and, you know, having a confident Lucas De Grassi is always nice for the garage, isn't it, and the team?
Absolutely, yeah, he's a hero.
Yeah, great. Well, great. Well, Till, we will let you get back to the team,
Thanks
get prepared for the duels,
Cheers.
and fingers crossed. We'll see you later. So, I mean, apart from what was going on with Lola, I mean, another completely topsy-turvy session. How much, though, can we really read into those lap times? I mean, I know going into the duels is important, but is it lucky putting in that one lap performance? Is that going to correlate to race performance?
I think that's the big question at the moment. Obviously, you want to qualify well, you want to put a good performance in those one lap moments, but we've seen a huge amount of tyre degradation here. We know it's going to be energy critical. Whether that translates, obviously, for qualifying performance into the race, I don't know. I think we might see some teams maybe trying to save tyres, maybe trying to give themselves the best shot in the race, because it's going to be a long race and there's a lot of opportunity to make moves through the field. We've seen it already this year, so let's see how important qualifying is. But that said, it's great to see some big moments for the teams like at Lola, and also for some other teams and drivers getting into the duels when I don't think we've seen like David Beckman in the duels at all this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so critical, isn't it? Because it's a real confidence booster. You know, all of the teams work incredibly hard to get results. So, yeah, a fantastic moment for them. Now let's go to Billy, who's with Taylor Barnard.
I'm not quite with Taylor Barnard, but we're going to look at his moments, and there were a few of them, particularly in the last sector, Nicky, at the end of his lap. He missed that by just over a tenth of a second. It was super tight out there, but we've got some footage here of Taylor coming up to that final part of the lap. Now, this is the chicane that everyone had some issues with. This apex here on the inside, you can see the wall up ahead as well. It caught a lot of people out, and this is the start of that end part of the lap where things started to unravel for Taylor Barnard. Actually fairly neat and tidy through the chicane itself, but we're going to pause it again for you, just coming up to this section here. This is a quick corner. Taylor Barnard used all of the inside curve, as a lot of the drivers will do. But I'm going to pause it just on the outside here, and we're going to look over here, further ahead. You might see that dark patch there. That is grass that's turned into mud, where every one of the drivers was running wheels off the circuit at that point in time. And you can see how this catches out Taylor Barnard as he comes through here. A big kick of oversteer, and that again is followed up in this part of the lap. You can see, if I just run this on a little bit further to you, there was a big swap moment here. He managed to get the steering together, but it cost him a lot of lap time again. Again, that final sector was where it fell away from him, because it looked like, for me, in commentary, he was going to be certain to make it through. Again, more snaps at the wheel for Taylor Barnard, really cooking those tyres. We've talked a lot about tyre temperature, about that, how that can affect the drivers. And for me, looking at the onboard from Taylor there, it looked like the tyres, the rear tyres in particular, got away from him at the end of the lap. So he'll be disappointed with the pace he's shown across this weekend, that things have ended in the way they have, and he has not made it through group qualifying.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for taking us through that, Billy. One thing I want to talk about is Andretti, because so far we have seen, well, it's Jake Dennis who's been bringing home the points. Norman Nato is pointless so far this season. So this is a big moment for him getting through to the duels.
It is, and I think they struggled this weekend so far. So I think for him to get through to the duels is really important. Jake obviously getting a little bit more out of it. We saw Nico have some struggles in practice. So I think a positive day for Andretti, and I think they can go into the race with quite a bit of confidence.
And more positivity coming from Robin Fries. I mean, they have really struggled this season. The performance hasn't been there so far. What a result.
Yeah, former teams champions. It's great to see Robin delivering, and great to see the team back there. I mean, they're the only Jaguar powertrain to make it into the duels, and Robin topping the session. Stunning performance from him.
Brilliant. Well, let's go down to Billy, who I think is with Oliver Rowland.
Again, Nicky, not quite with Oliver Rowland, but we're at the EPAD, and we've got all the footage, so I can show you from Oliver's perspective what was going out and qualifying for him there. So we're going to run you through with, again, the tricky part of the lap that the drivers seem to struggle with here. This is Oliver Rowland going through the chicane at 10.11. He used quite a lot of curb, and we've got a nice little slow-mo of that coming up for you just now. Again, you can see he clambered all over those curbs. He was really confident with that, but it then tripped him and caught him out towards the end of the lap. I'm going to slow this down for you and pause it just here. So we're going into a left-hander chicane at 10.11. So you want to go this way. That's where the apex is. Oliver Rowland steering as he locks the rear tyres, go on that entry. He's facing the wrong way into the corner, so at that point, from a driver's perspective, you can tell that he was really struggling with the balance of that car under braking. The car was loose underneath him, and it resulted in him missing the chicane towards the end of Group A qualifying. He went down the escape road, and at that point, obviously, towards the end of the session, when it was critical to deliver under pressure, Oliver Rowland missed out. Again, you can see him coming to a stop there. He knows at that point, qualifying is over for him. And for the man that's been so consistent in delivering in this championship so far, this 8-week break, he hasn't been able to bounce back. You see the team principal of Nissan, Tommaso Volpe, there, really frustrated because they would have wanted to keep the momentum going. But unfortunately for Oliver Rowland, he didn't make it through into the next stage of qualifying.
Lovely stuff. Thank you so much, Billy. I mean, OK, so he hasn't made it through into the duels, but really, how much does it matter? You know, we've seen in Formula E, you can come from the back of the grid. This is an energy-critical race, so really there's so much to play for.
I think that's the mentality they have to go with. That said, The thing that concerns me a little bit about Roland is he doesn't have a huge amount of confidence. So I think he's going to have a good look at it, gain a bit of confidence and go into the race attacking.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Oliver Roland normally is a relatively confident driver, whatever Formula E throws at him. Let's find out what's going to go down in the duels. Back to our commentator, Tom Brooks.
So then, time for the first of the duels. Quarterfinal 1, Jake Dennis versus Stoffel Van Dorn.
Yeah, and previously they've had a head-to-head between each other, 2, and they've both got 1 apiece coming in as well. And Dennis goes out ahead of Van Dorn. Now, Wes, usually when we're here for these type of events, we kind of have an expert see that, yeah, this is usually the time where the circuit doesn't change that much in terms of time. So those who go out second actually get the better run.
Normally, yes, but I think as we saw in the group stages, I think everybody was struggling to a certain extent on tyres. So what the circuit does in terms of grip is seemingly random. So it could go either way, honestly.
It's an exciting session. It's still going to be entertaining to see what we're going to have as we get going for this one then. Green light will come on. We'll move on to our battle screen for qualifying. So, the 4 that went through, DaCosta, Van Dorn, Dennis Beckman, Freins, Nato, Degrassi and De Vries stands. We did have some investigations brewing, but nothing has come onto one of it so far. So, the top 4 Group A qualifiers, of course. So it's Dennis v Van Dorn, 2v3 for the group. Which it kind of makes sense, which is A2, A3. Go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say actually the head-to-head screen that just came up earlier, and where it said 1-1, is that over the course of their careers, or
yes,
is that just this year?
I don't know actually. We were told that it was between all time, but now I'm starting to guess because we've had the duels for a number of years now, and Dennis and Van Dorn have fought each other several times. So I wonder if they've changed it to this year. I shall ask. And let's see what happens. How did Envision and Lola at Yamaha get 1 and 2? Unbelievable. They've been quick. They've been strong.
Alright, well, we begin now.
Lap time's on there for Dennis. Yeah, my pick for Van Dorn. Everyone who goes out second seems to get a better lap time in these duels. It's sort of a slight flaw. Here, the tyres screeching for Dennis massively, coming out of turn 4 through the Kingston 5 and then down the backstretch towards turn 6. Already, Dennis actually ahead by a 10.5 there, Wes.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, I think this Van Dorn is catching, but I think the circuit this weekend has just been so random and unpredictable. I don't think the normal rules apply here, at least at the moment, anyway.
I'm with you on that, to be fair. I don't think normal rules do apply. It's sort of a catch-22 situation as they continue to fly in, jumping over ever so carefully. That's it, just take it with ease. You don't need to fly in full throttle just yet. Oh, look, that's what I mean. You snap at the rear and Dennis is having a very mucky end to his lap time. Van Dorn, however, is catching him, and the lap does seem to go on forever here in Formula E, but over the line we come now. Is it Dennis with a 1:23 dead? What a time! And now Van Dorn's already half a second back, Wes.
Yeah, I think Van Dorn's made a mistake somewhere in the lap that we didn't see there. He's half a second down now, so I think he's probably not going to get this one unless he's had an amazing final corner.
It's a 1:23.566. He's out of it by a lot. Dennis goes through then to the semi-finals. Van Dorn eliminated. That might be an 8th fastest time as well, which put him only on the 4th row of the grid, but it's never that good when you try and work it out as to who goes where and when.
Yeah, I think Maserati will be disappointed with that.
That's a proper lap, that is, mate. Keep the pace up. Really nice work. Stop on the 23.5. Keep the pace up. Box.
Yeah, they liked it. They liked it.
Yeah, they sure did. Yeah, Dennis was really trying to wring the neck of that car through that lap. he's really pulled up some surprises in recent years in the duels. Now on to David Beckman versus Antonio Felix da Costa.
Never raced each other.
And I'm guessing they've never faced each other before.
So that's a surprise. And da Costa goes out second. That shot looks a bit familiar. Here at Miami, the one from the top of the grandstand. It's kind of looking familiar now when we had it. Oh, and Beckman wide into turn one, catches the grass. They'll lose at 3 at the exit. Not a bad lap, but da Costa, he won't make those mistakes as we come in now. Party in the city where Effie is on is the tagline. Yeah, clips the grass ever so slightly, but he's already much faster. Da Costa into turn one alone is nearly 2 tenths up. As expected.
Yeah, Beckman's really doing a Dennis here, really wringing the neck of this car.
We'll try and find out which is the fastest point between it, but 9 times out of 10 you do have just several dramas as they go slightly wide. Beckman then up towards the line. He'll be our first one through turn 11. Oh, he got loose and he clipped the curve. It's done then, isn't it? This is done. Look at da Costa immediately 4 tenths ahead.
Oh, Beckman was so lucky not to break the suspension there on the outside of that chicane.
Just jumped it too much, and no such issues in the last corner. Jumps up high on the banking, over the line, and it's a...
Nearly hits the barrier on there as well.
It was right at the exit. 124.479. Da Costa's a second faster, 1.3. He could almost just lift off and save energy over the line if it wasn't a duel. And da Costa comfortably goes through by 1.2 seconds. So next up, Nato and Degrassi. I don't know which one's worse, to be honest with you. That was a shocking lap from both Dennis and from Van Dorn and from Beckman. I expected better.
Ooh, and I think da Costa actually hit his rear wheel on just exiting that chicane there as well. So
he did, yeah, good spot.
Good job. That's us through. That's us through. Good job. Inlet procedure. What's your delta?
How much would that rear torque, four-wheel drive the sector? Yeah, it should have helped a little bit, but that would have knocked off a bit of time. That's probably why he was dropped down to 2 tenths. Nato and Degrassi haven't faced each other so far this year, because I know they've faced each other before. They've battled for pole in the duels. No predictor vote. Okay.
And Degrassi coming into the duels on fine form as well. So see if he can extract the most out of the car here.
Top group number, where's Degrassi? Second fastest in Group B. That was at 300 kilowatts per hour.
After that lap from Thrones that came out of nowhere.
And we're fine to be hoping for another one of those in a few moments' time. Remember, we're now at 350 kilowatts of power and at 4-wheel drive. So it's a full lap time deployment now, which is why you're seeing a few slow parts of the track as they dive in. It's almost like he's standing still as we've slowed the laps down for one of them. Which one? Nato's lap is slowed, Degrassi's is live. And Nato's ahead.
Yeah, he went a lot faster into turn 1 and exited it a lot quicker as well. So that explains the 2 tenths difference.
I can tell you that Nato's lap time is a 1:23.030. So that's our second fastest time in the duel so far from the Nissan. We're watching live with Lucas Degrassi's camera as he comes in to the chicane now. He'll be up second, but yeah, he's 6 tenths back already. This is kind of predictable, I'm afraid, for the Lola, but I was expecting a bit more from a world champion of the series.
Yeah, same. I mean, that's the gap started small and it just grew and grew over the course of the lap.
Over the line.
What is it over the line?
Down. Nato's through.
7 tenths.
Is it me or
Yeah,
does
that
it
was
feel
very
like,
shocking with the grassy there.
It feels like we're going through the motions here, doesn't it? It doesn't feel like a proper qualifying yet. Hasn't kicked in.
No, not quite. There's still time.
De Vries and Frein should be fun. I wonder if the Great Miami Experiment for Formula E. Second time we've come here. First time was on a street circuit that got hourly built. First time now at a speedway. I wonder if they'll realise maybe it doesn't work. Let's hear from Nature's Radio.
It's looking pretty good on 7 tenths. Good job, mate. Good job.
Okay, good job. It came into it. I'm hoping the race later's good. I really am, because it's been too long to have a dual race. It's been what? How long? A month? 2 months since Jeddah?
2 months. It's been 8 weeks.
Ridiculous how long it's been. Right,
Yeah.
Freins and De Vries. They have faced each other. Freins was quicker than De Vries. And we're off already.
Let's go for De Vries over the line. And just to add to what you were saying earlier as well, after the shocker in F1 that was Suzuka, I was hoping for a nice cheery Formula E race.
Doesn't look like we're going to get that.
Wait and see what
Yeah.
Freins with a slight advantage, 0.08 of a second up on De Vries.
This is going to be a bit closer. Look at that. Freins now within 13,000. Okay. Game, set, match for the final of the quarters before we go into the semis and then the actual final later. So who's it going to whittle down to? We've already got Dennis V. DaCosta. NATO will face one of these two. And they're so close to call. It's insane. This is more like
It's incredibly close. They're just about to... De Vries going through the chicane now. Slightly up. This is the first time he's had the advantage over the course of this lap.
De Vries in a Mahindra, which has found some pace in the early races, but still looking forward to having regeneration with the Evo technology as the year goes on. Over the line for De Vries, and it's a 1:23.252. Freins is fractionally behind, but he's carrying some more speed into the last sector. 34,000 the difference, up the banking, over the line. Freins or De Vries will face NATO, and it's free! Freins, he's done it again! Free!
Oh.
3/10 of a sector. Fantastic from Robin Freins. He's gone through.
Over the line there, that was the only time over the course of that lap that they had been more than 1/10 apart.
How? Just how?
I know. Was that what you were looking for, Josh?
Yeah, that was better. 1/10 faster.
That was much better.
Right, can we now keep that mentality for the semi-finals and the final, please, coming up? Right, we'll head back down then to the world feed as the battle is just brewing absolutely spectacularly. Here's Freins.
Good lap. Watch the 120% on the in-lap.
Yeah, strong final sector, especially for Robin Freins to pull back the deficit there, finishing a 10th and a half ahead. So very good stuff from Robin Freins, the two Dutchmen going head to head. It is the Envision that emerges on top ahead of the Mahindra. He will be going up against Norman Nato in the semi-finals in a few minutes' time. Well, there we go then. So we know how it's all worked out in terms of the quarterfinals. It'll be Antonio Pintos da Costa and Jake Dennis up first of all, and then Robin Freins versus Norman Nato. Let's have a look and see how we got there then. So you can see here we had Dennis versus Van Dorn in the first quarterfinal, Beckman versus da Costa, Nato versus de Grassi, De Vries versus Freins, as we saw just a few moments ago. And as I said, those four drivers going head-to-head against one another. Only two from each of those groups will be going up into the finals and up for that front row fight. Let's see how this is going to work out, who will be qualifying on pole position here for the E3 this afternoon. Well, lovely stuff then from those drivers. Any big surprises for yourself, James, in that session?
I think Norman Nato's performance so far this weekend.
Push out the steer on power in turn 6. Needed to go off power again to get rotation.
talking about a little bit of understeer there by the sounds of things.
Yeah, turn 6 is, we've seen it catch a few drivers out with them running wide, and then you've got that quick right-hander of turn 7. So if you suffer with understeer there, it's quite a long amount of time that you might lose lap time all the way down really through 7 into the long straight 4-8. So again, if you can just nail your exits from there, it might only be, you know, a fraction earlier on the throttle, but if you've got that confidence on the traction, it can make a big difference.
Well, one driver who's sadly not progressed forwards from the quarterfinals is Stoffel van Dorn. Alexa went down to the pit lane, caught up with the Belgian driver a few moments ago to see what he made of that session.
Stoffel, we just spoke to Jake and he was saying that it's actually been a pretty challenging weekend getting the car kind of up to speed, but can you take away a sort of a positive feeling from making it through to the duels?
I think it's probably one of my best laps I've ever done today. Just to make it to the duels today was just such a massive challenge. We've been really on the back foot all weekend. We've lacked a lot of pace, and that lap kind of came a little bit out of nowhere. So yeah, I wasn't really expecting it to be there, and yeah, I think we kind of saw again in the first duel against Jake that we're still quite a bit behind and we're still lacking. But yeah, nonetheless, it was a good qualifying. We're starting in the top 8, so you know we can race from there, and hopefully with the way things are going to go, it's an opportunity for us to score some good points.
And actually, with that sort of challenge in pace you've had this weekend in mind, how do you feel about your race pace?
Tricky. It's a track that's very sensitive to slipstream, so you know there's going to be a lot of games being played in the lead group, and I just want to mix myself in there. I think in the race we can do something good. I think it's we're probably better on race pace than qualifying pace, so yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Thank you, Stoffel.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed to Stoffel there and to Alexa. Good to catch up. So, struggles for Maserati at this particular point of the weekend. What do you think they're going to be doing in terms of turning that performance, or trying to at least turn that performance around going into the E-Prix?
Well, full focus on efficiency. Let's ride on board with Jake Dennis here, just to see how much grass he took at the start of that lap. He made quite a big difference there, cutting the grass. Car balance looks perfect. So as he coaxes the car in, got exactly the rotation he wanted, looking good.
So just looking here then at Jake Dennis's lap in the quarterfinals a few moments ago, he will be going up against Antonio Felix da Costa in the Tag Heuer Porsche. So 2 Porsche powertrains into this one. Then we've got a Jaguar powertrain and a Nissan powertrain against one another. So a fair bit of variety as we see as normal in Formula E. Going into turn 8 there, late apex for Dennis. Hooks it all up very nicely. One driver who sadly will not be going forward for the quarterfinals, but has put in the best performance that we've seen so far from a Lola Yamaha apt machine in season 11 is Lucas de Grassi. Alexa is down in pit lane and she's catching up with him.
Lucas, that was an unbelievable lap in the group stages. You must have been pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, it was a good lap. We managed to get the tire in a good window. I could have squeezed a few more tenths. I improved on my second lap in a few corners, but it's very hard to get a lap together here. So I'm very pleased to can at least got that lap together, and it was enough to go to the duels. Best first-time duo for Lola, so we're very pleased.
I was going to say, that first appearance for Lola, that must feel like you're starting to make progress in the right direction.
Yeah, in Jeddah we were already. I think I did the fastest first sector in the second quali. So we're making steps, and because the team is new, people have to understand that the rate of progress is very steep now. So it's still every race we find out big things to improve, and we work very hard on the brake. And for the guys, it's amazing to have this feeling now that all the hard work really paid off, and we were able to put the car at the moment in P7.
Congratulations, Lucas. Thank you so much.
Thanks Lucas. Thanks, Alexa. Semi-final one then along the way. Antonio Felix da Costa and Jake Dennis going up against each other to get a spot in the all-important final. So this is going to be interesting to see how it works out. In terms of their qualifying performances so far in 2024 and 2025 for season 11, you'd have to say that the momentum is a little bit more in favour of Antonio Felix da Costa. He's been on the front row once and he's had another top 5 start. Jake Dennis, on the other hand, not quite so fortunately. He's had one top 3 start this year, and in Jeddah in particular, he was outside the top 10 on both of those occasions. The 2 previous Formula E champions going against one another. How are we going to call this one, James?
Well, I'm excited for this duel. I think it's going to be a great head-to-head. Both of them are performing exceptionally well so far this weekend. The lap that we saw from Jake was pretty spectacular. I mean, the amount of grass he took at that turn 1 was, he fully sent it into there. It's going to be interesting to see if he does it again in this duel.
I really like the fact that turn 1, you know, obviously the drivers are taking to the grass, but it's self-policing because we've seen it go wrong. We've seen drivers, you know, take that grass too much or at the wrong angle and spin out. So for me, you know, the track limits can be contentious sometimes, but it's great to just see the drivers pushing to the limit and having to, you know, play that game of guesswork themselves of how much they can get away with taking.
Yeah.
So Da Costa and Dennis first out then as well, Wes. I wonder what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I know it could go either way with this one. I know that I think Van Dorn got a little bit lucky in his duel, so and I suppose Dennis did as well. But but Dennis was really aggressive on his lap, and I don't know. I lean slightly more towards Dennis, I think, with this.
It's a confusing one to close in. There's a big bumblebee somewhere near me up here in the commentary box, and I can't open up the door, and I've shouted to the person who sat outside, but that is basically like shouting ridiculous. I'm going to try and kick it open with my umbrella, which I've now managed to do as the lap times begin. Hey.
You text Megan or something and get her to shoo it away.
She's busy on a different stream, so that's why.
Oh, is she? Oh, okay.
I'm completely alone, but someone sat literally outside on the chair, so I'm a bit annoyed that I did shout during the break. Okay, lap times are in. We've slowed down. I think Da Costa, yeah, and Dennis is live. He's gone out second, so. This is going to be a bit more of an interesting fight between the two. Fingers crossed, it's going to be interesting. Da Costa's ahead of Dennis by 91 thousandths. Not a lot, but that's still a tenth.
It is still enough. Yeah, it was 4 thousandths earlier, so this could be another one of those duels that stays very close indeed. It's a tenth now in Da Costa's favour. They go head down the straight toward turn 7. Very tricky turn 7.
One of my favourite parts of the circuit, actually, how it just sort of like a point and push your throttle down and open it up. Da Costa's still ahead now, 2.5 tenths to Dennis. Dennis going to have to find something to fight back. He's got a lot better through that chicane than Da Costa did. Da Costa lost a heap of time. Look at Dennis. He did catch through that sector as well. A lot more curve taken for Da Costa.
He really did, yeah.
Ooh, look at that.
Oh, and a big bunch of oversteer from Jake Dennis there. Just as he managed to bring it within less than a tenth. That's probably not going to stay the same. No, it is. Dennis is unbelievable as they go on to the final straight.
Well, Da Costa had all of the things to fail, and he lost out. Dennis clawed back the impossible and goes through to the final. Jake Dennis will face the finals. That was a surprise from 3 tenths down.
That was very, very impressive, I gotta say. Dennis was... I honestly thought he was going to lose it through that final sequence there, but he kept it pointing in the right direction, and it is Da Costa that is out.
For those of you who are going to be joining us for our MotoGP coverage, Juan Mir has withdrawn from the weekend, as a heads up. No news why as of yet, as there's a mistake from... Yeah. Track limits, oh dear.
That would be a shame if he gets his lap deleted because of that.
That'd be too harsh. Way too harsh. No, I didn't hear anything else anyway. Yeah, as Pugs just said, Juan Mir's withdrawn from the sprint race. Yeah, got the same email to tell us. Be surprised if that's the case.
Alright, so Franz and Nato.
Okay, so this will be an interesting one as we come down to turn 1. Franz is out first, Nato's out second. Who's your pick?
Well, Nato got the best of Franz last time they faced each other, but I don't know, after that incredible lap in the group stages, this could go Franz's way. He seems to be pretty hooked up at this circuit, and in the first mini sector there. France is a tiny bit up on Nato, but it's still very close.
Nato's jumped ahead now, just ahead as well, and he's closing. So 28-1 for the first sector for Frines, 27-8 for Nato. Sector 2 for Frines, 32.6. Yeah, again, this is just faster and faster. So ideally, all Norman Nato needs to do is just keep on with that Nissan power, and he should be easily ahead of the Envision. Envision's sort of taken a step back recently. Double checking, I didn't hear a buzz. Oh, there it is. Go on.
Okay. Norman Nato now up to 2 tenths in front of Robin Frines. 3 tenths now as he goes on to the final. Frines goes on to the final straight.
And yeah, okay, so it's a 1:23.389. Not the slowest time we've seen in the duel so far, but Nato's attacking everything now as he comes up on the banking. Over the line we come, and Norman Nato a 1:23.094. Fastest overall from Norman Nato. He will face Jake Dennis in the final.
I think it's going to be a pretty epic final.
I really hope it's good.
The two of them, with the speed that they've both shown, I mean, how can it not be?
Former teammates as well, if I'm not very much mistaken.
That's right, yeah.
Nato's first front row since 2021 is coming up. Well, that's more like it. Let's take a quick look at Frines. Where did he lose that time? Touched the grass a lot there. Track limits as well. I think he's gone over.
Oh dear. Getting very squirrely there.
Just more errors. More comical errors.
He's very full of errors, yeah. I mean, he was slightly down before that anyway, but that just kind of sealed the deal for him.
Okay, so that means it is Dennis and Nato in the final. We'll be ready for that shortly. Let's head back over to the world feed.
Have to talk about later, but I think it's going to be very interesting.
Good job, good job. 3 tenths quicker, good job.
Well, a simple response there from Norman Nato, but we can tell that he's absolutely delighted with it as a result of that performance. He did actually get himself into the finals of the duels in Portland last season, but of course he had a 10-place grid penalty then. So, providing that nothing goes awry at the end of this qualifying session for Nato, this will be his first front row start since Rome in 2021.
Now, the big difference for me between Dennis and Nato going into this final is Nato looks so smooth on his lap, under control. He's just got to repeat what he's done. He didn't have a single moment really out there. He was just, it looked so smooth to do the lap time. Whereas Jake, we saw him hustling his car, taking too much speed into turn 1. You know, for me, the one going into the final with the most confidence has to be Norman. He can just repeat it. It's going to be a great opportunity for him to grab pole position.
No doubt about it. You can see how we got here then in terms of the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. The upshot is it's going to be Jake Dennis versus Norman Nato then, going head-to-head again to another. Andretti versus Nissan. How is this going to work out? Two former teammates, of course. Let's not forget they've got a great relationship with one another. What's it going to look like in the finals? Dennis has only been on pole once since becoming Formula E World Champion in 2023. As I said earlier on, that was Berlin back in 2024. Let's see what's going to happen here for Norman Nato. Just another 5 minutes to go until the start of this session. Billy, what's going through your mind as a driver? You're sat there, you've got to pull a third flying lap out of the bag now.
I think obviously you're, speaking to your engineer mainly about the tyre warm-up. I think that's the thing that's going to be critical because they'll be trying slightly different things. They'll have a plan in their mind, but for me, start that lap, especially that first corner, which seems to be the one that almost caught Jake Dennis out. I mean, he just made it through by a couple hundredths a second, but he left time on the table there, so he'll be, figuring out with his engineer. That was due to tyre warm-up, where he just got greedy in terms of trying to roll too much minimum speed through that corner. I think what James touched on earlier about Norman Nato, I think his lap times that he's producing at the minute, it's easier for him to replicate those lap times. I think going into the last part of qualifying, I think Jake has got the raw speed, but it's just whether he can deliver that all in the final lap.
His complaint last year was a feeling on the brakes, that it was missing that from driving, and it was a shame, really, because especially given the consistency that we saw from Dennis in his championship year of 2023, he was super, super impressive. And then last year, it all sort of came apart, really. It's amazing to see the resurgence now, and also just what a bit of confidence does for a racing driver.
Yeah, he seems super confident. I mean, to have those moments on the lap he had in the semi-finals and to get through to the finals, it was very impressive. We can see here, Jake, when he went into turn one, he's already got opposite lock on there. Across the grass was actually, I think you might have been right, Billy, if he was maybe all four wheels on the grass there.
Yeah, he found a new bit of tarmac in his own mind with that one, but made it work. I mean, he managed to bounce back, considering he's potentially four wheels on the grass there. You know, you can lose the surface of the tyre, can get a bit dusty and dirty, and you can lose even more lap time throughout the lap, but he managed to gather it all together. And this second half of the lap is where Jake managed to claw back all that time to Antonio Felix da Costa, and you look at both of them coming through 7 here, super smooth on the wheel, a little bit of movement, but we've seen quite a lot of movement, to be honest, from most drivers running on the exit curves there, and it was all neat and tidy, wasn't it?
Yeah, as we approach turn 8, you can see the rotation of both cars looks good here. They both look well under control, and it's in a minute that we see Jake have a bit of a moment. Another big slide. The chicanes, I think Norman looks very smooth. Jake hustling a bit more. And then as we approach this fast left-hand corner, this is where we saw Jake have a huge moment.
He's done well to gather it all up there. He took a lot of curb on the inside, and it almost just flicked the car into a bit of an oversteer moment, but he managed to gather it all together.
Yeah, great laps from both of them. Very excited for this final.
Well, that's the end of the laps then for Dennis versus Nato. Let's see what's going to look at the finals. So then, 2 minutes to go until the finals for round 5 here, qualifying. Let's see who is going to line up on pole position. Will it be Jake Dennis? Will it be Norman Nato? Just having a look back at previous pole positions in the United States, Andretti got pole in Miami back in 2015. That was when John Eric Verne was driving the car.
Yeah, it's okay. I will try to put to that with you. It's job, so it's coming next is bonus. So if we go for it, it's good.
Do what you've done from now, okay? Drive without thinking.
Always good advice. Drive without thinking.
Disengaged brain. Let's go down to Alexa. She's catching up with Antonio Felix da Costa. He got into the semi-finals but doesn't press forward into the finals.
Antonio, it was such tight margins between you and Jake. How are you feeling after that result?
This time I gotta say I'm a little bit frustrated because we've been doing really good qualities this year, I have to say. We've been going into the duels and always having the pace to fight for pole, and we've come close a few times, and we lost out now for a few hundreds, and my lap wasn't. We did a few changes between one duel and the other, and we just didn't nail it, to be honest. So yeah, we just didn't maximize everything that we've had, but still, I mean, I'm not too unhappy with starting in the top 3, so that's okay. We can race from there, but yeah, I'm just chasing my return to the pole position stand, and it's been taking a little bit of time, but we're close, and that's the positive.
So, on to the finals then. Jake Dennis versus Norman Nato, Andretti versus Nissan, and 2 former teammates going head-to-head, looking for their first pole position of season 11. Norman Nato seeking his first front row start since Rome 2021, his first ever pole position in Formula E. And Jake Dennis looking for his first pole since Berlin 2024. Let's see how this is going to work out. Will it be delight for Andretti on home soil, or will Nato snatch it from under their nose?
I love this format in Formula E, where you get the fastest 2 drivers head-to-head on track. I mean, we're going to see a great show, I think, from these 2.
Billy, if you were a betting man, which way would you be going?
I said Jake Dennis earlier, so I'm going to have to stick with the Andretti man.
James?
I reckon Norman will nail it. I think he's been super smooth so far in the duels. I can see him really having some confidence, and he's done it the right way. You know, he's built into it. I think Jake is going to take maximum risk. So let's see.
It's a 50-50 split in our commentary box then, is there?
Well, let's see if we can try and balance it out here on Formula E Zone and JB Motorsports. Who's your pick for pole, Dennis or Nato?
It's going to be incredibly close, whichever way it is. I'm leaning slightly more towards Dennis. I think he's pulled out of the bag enough good laps in his day that he can do one more.
You know, Adam's pointed out that I'm dressed from Miami, and you know, it was not a conscious choice, but 30 seconds before I just read that comment, I thought to myself, oh yeah, I have, haven't I? I literally just picked what was a nice shirt for today because it's so warm here in the UK as well, so it's completely by chance, but yeah, I actually thought that, so thanks, Adam. One year I had a really pinky flowery shirt I should have put on now, but this one will do for Miami as well. Right, here we go. Final time. Who's it going to be? Dennis v NATO. Dennis is out first, so NATO's got the advantage of the best track conditions afterwards. And now, battle begins. I'm excited about this one. Please be good. Green flag. Okay, good into one.
Yeah, this is going to be the battle of driving styles, I think. Now, Dennis with his aggressive style, Norman Nato's got a much more smoother flow to him, so it's really going to be interesting to see, isn't it? Who's your money on, Josh?
Dennis, personally. I'll stick with Dennis because I think he's got the momentum in that Andretti. But Nissan has been so much faster as well. They've both been as fast as each other in this qualifying session, and it's NATO who's actually quicker than Dennis. I might eat my own words, I've just said. Coming through that first sector, up by a 10th. Come on, what are we going to have?
Yeah, Nato's tapping now, and he just manages to get in front a little bit at 0.06 of a second, but as we expected, this is going to be incredibly tight.
Yeah, this is what we like to see it then as they come down through the chicane one more time. Dennis will have his lap time first, and then we'll have NATO directly behind, and that will be the end of the qualifying runs, and we will have our grid for round 5 of the 11th season of ABB FIA Formula E. Here we go up to the line. NATO's 2 tenths quicker already. Dennis is over the line now. His time is a 1:23.166. It's one of the slowest we've seen so far. NATO's sliding around out here over the line, pushing the power down. He's literally fighting the four-wheel drive. Takes the checkered flag. NATO's on pole position. 1:23.037. All by the last sector where he was fastest.
Yeah, he did lose a little bit in those final sequence of corners, but he built up enough of a gap over the course of the rest of the lap to be able to pull it off. So, well done, Norman Nato.
That's it from him.
Well done, Norman. Well done. Scenario 6, 120%. What a lap. Good job.
Good job indeed. I think that went rather well, Wes, don't you?
I certainly do, yeah. He definitely made both of us eat our words, didn't he?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's that smooth driving style he has, which really helped him with this one. And the Nissan mechanics, they're absolutely overjoyed, and as well they might be.
Well, there we go then. For that one, we'll hear from him shortly on the world feed. And then we'll hand down and have the trophy presentations. Wes, I know you might need to run off now before the race itself, so I'll give you a chance. Oh, let's have Dennis Wes. Dennis saying he couldn't do much more. He lost it really in the first corner, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did, and it's so frustrating for a driver when that happens, because you know you're just fighting to try and get it back throughout the rest of the lap, and unfortunately he couldn't do it this time.
Right, Wes, I know you've got other stuff to get on with as well, including prepping for recording the 5 Live coverage coming up, so I will let you disappear. Quick thoughts on quali and quick thoughts going into the race.
Yeah, it started off a little bit slow, but I really enjoyed it towards the end there. I think it came back, and this format is unique to Formula E, and I think it delivers every time. So.
Thanks, Wes. I'll see you later on for the E-Prix as well.
See you around.
And let's head down to the world feed now on the commentary call.
This weekend, that's now of course increased up to 4 ahead of the E-Prix this afternoon. His first points of the entire season as well for Norman Nato. And the first time he will have started from the front row since Rome 2021 also takes Nissan stroke Edams, as they were known in their previous guys, their 25th pole position in Formula E history. So a nice round of accolades there for Norman Nato.
Yeah, a big moment for him. He's been under so much pressure with his teammate getting such strong results throughout the first 4 races and Norman not delivering anything. what a response, you know, 8 weeks away. He's come back a refreshed man.
Yeah, fantastic job. He gets that Julius Baer pole position trophy as well, which we'll be hearing from him in a few moments' time as he jumps out the car in the FIA Weybridge area of the pit lane. And yeah, fantastic job from the Frenchman. As I say, he'll be delighted, as will the Nissan team. Just got to go over, get himself weighed. It complies to the regulations. We didn't hear anything about the drivers that were under investigation in the group stages of qualifying. Well, keep an eye out for an update on that one. We had Günther Verlein, and yeah, confirmation there that Nato takes his first ever pole position in Formula E history. So as I said, front row start for him back in Rome 21, but this is the first time he will be at the head of the grid.
He won a race, Berlin, was it?
Oh, a long time ago now, I'm trying to remember.
Berlin 22.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, back in the Gen 2 era, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a very strong performance from him. It was just before he lost his drive.
He was with the Venturi team at the time, wasn't he? Yeah. He's been a bit of a journeyman in terms of his career, hasn't he? He's never stayed with a team for more than one season, Norman Nato. But now he's gone back to Nissan, a team where he was with in 2023, took a podium in Rome in that year as well. And yeah, he'll be delighted with that to finally sort of get his checkbook open, as it were, in terms of the points, but also deliver the performances that Nissan hired him for. They need him to put in those strong results, especially when, on the other side of the garage, Oliver Rowland has had a difficult day at the office so far.
Yeah, it's great to see him representing the team, really putting the car in the position it deserves to be in. And it also gives the team a great opportunity to look into the data to search for what the problem is on Ollie Rowland's car, because I don't believe it's a problem with Oliver Rowland. We've seen him so strong this year. The team now have the data of a pole position car. They can compare it to Ollie's, try to come up with some solutions before going into this race and see if Oliver can get himself to the front of the field for the performance this afternoon.
It's lovely to see a race there between Nato and Dennis. Those two get on so well. They were really good teammates. And I think Jake was, to be honest, a little bit gutted when Nato departed at the end of season 10, just because they had such a good relationship as teammates. We'll be hearing from Nato in a few moments' time. He's just down there in Parc Fermé. Meanwhile, the celebrations continue inside the Nissan garage. Not much time to do so, because there's only a couple of hours to go until the E3 gets underway. 1 p.m. local time is when we've got lights out. So let's get down to Norman Nato and catch up with the pole sitter, his first ever in Formula E history. What does the Frenchman have to say?
Norman, you said to me 8 weeks ago that it was one of the worst starts to the career you've ever had, and to come back, take your first ever Julius Baer pole position award. What a turnaround!
Yeah, no, to be honest, since Sao Paulo, I'm fast, but just like face some time, like take a bit of time for everything to come around. And it was not a problem of speed, as I say to everyone. Honestly, if you look in Sao Paulo in free practice, I've been qualifying with there, but just in race, yeah, a lot of things happen. So yeah, I'm really pleased. We didn't give up, and as always, you know, like it's some things that I love in sports in general, in life, is that, yeah, you can have some really tough moments, and then you have this kind of moment where, like, you know, you just don't give up, you keep pushing, and it goes your way. So it's perfect. Now there's a long race ahead, but I'm really pleased with that.
Well, as you mentioned, we've got an energy-sensitive race coming up this afternoon. How much confidence does it give you to be leading off from pole?
Wow, I'm going to enjoy the pole for 5-10 minutes because, yeah, as you just said, this afternoon is going to be like a roller coaster race. A lot of strategy possible, a lot of movement in the pack. For sure, it's going to be a good show for the fans to watch, so you shouldn't miss it. And, yeah, we're going to try to fight for at least the podium, if not better.
And now to present the Julius Baer Pole Position Award is Natalie Rowe and Liana McCartney representing Sprout Up.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you.
So there you have then the full starting grid for this one. It's going to be Norman Nato from Jake Dennis to Costa Freins, De Vries, Van Dorn, De Grassi, Beckman, Verlein, Mortara, your top 10. Well, my thanks to you all for joining us. We'll be back later on for the E-Prix. Do not go anywhere. It's going to be a classic. We'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.